Georgia, met Hank down in New Mexico. We're bound for Durango to join Pancho Villa. We hear that he's playing in gold. Shoo-hoo, Mike's Music Method. Today, guys, we are doing Steve Earle's Mercenary song. Thank you, Riley Mellon, for sponsoring this tune. If you guys want to sponsor one, go to mikesmusicmethod.com. Click on that tab. We're doing a Leonard Cohen special this month, so $50 will get you a tab and maybe a future tutorial to a Leonard Cohen song. But go check out the website. Details are there. This song is a fairly beginner piece. It's fast. That's the only hard part, but most of it's kind of a pick strum. The intro is really cool. We got a lot of fills, and that's going to get your kind of flat picking going with a pick. You could use your fingers, but it's going to have a lot more attack with a pick. So if I had to rate this one, I'd rate it maybe a 3 out of 10 difficulty. Again, I've got the new tabs database at mikesmusicmethod.com where you can kind of create your own self-guided guitar course just by following along in difficulty in the style you like, whether that's picking and strumming, or strum technique, or actual finger picking Travis style. If you're new to Mike's Music Method, what we do here is tab will be on the screen. It's also free to download, although it's based on the value for value model on our system. More on that later. But go snag the tab, have it printed, that's better. But what we're going to do, the beginning of this tutorial, we're going through every measure. It's not that hard, we'll do it pretty quick, with the exception of the intro. We'll talk about how he does the studio version as well as the Hartworn Highway version that we all love. And then, at the middle of the video, and kind of towards the end, we talk about singing and playing it together. I call that getting things campfire ready. At the very end of the video, we do slow run-throughs, where you can play the intro with me at a slow tempo, the verse, and the chorus. That's it. I'm Mike. I want to make you a good player, so let's do this together. We are going to learn this song. Measure 1. We're going to do more of the studio version because I think the lead is a little bit cooler. Clearly the guitarist on the studio version, whether that was Earl or not, probably, is taking the time to do all the lead notes. And he's not quite doing that in Hartworn Highways, but I think it's pretty cool. So we hit this big G chord, and this is one of these moments where we've got the 2 3rd fret Gs. So I got 3, 3 with pinky and ring. Then I'm going to do pointer finger, 2nd fret on the A string, and then 3rd fret there. So you got the G voice like that. So we're going to hit that. Then we're going to hit open D right afterwards. And I'd probably use a pick. I'm going to use my fingers. This one's probably easier with a pick. Actually, I'll show you with a pick. Then we got a little fill here in the 2nd measure. We're doing 2-0 on the 4th string. Then he hits open again. And we hammer open to 2 on the 5th string. And if you want to do strict alternate picking, I'm doing down, up, down, down. Measure 3, that finger's down and we're gonna hammer into the 3rd fret here, just like that. And then we descend, so hammer 2 to 3. Then we do 3, 2, 0, and I'm picking down, down, up, down. So far, 3, 4. Sorry, I missed it. Then here we're hammering in measure 4, hammering on open 2, and then just the low string. So hammer open to 2 on the 5th, then 3rd fret on the 6th string. So those 4, 3, 4. And always practice slow and clean. Only over time do you want to build up the speed. You want the tone to be great when you're practicing, always. Measure 5, we got a D chord. We're just hammering from a sus into the D. So I've got my middle finger up, so the top string's going to be open, and I'm hammering into that. Then measure 6, we're doing 5th string, 4th string. Now, if you're playing it alone and the rest of the band isn't there, feel free to put some strumming in there. Something like that, so it's not so empty. And then measure 7. He does these really quick, kind of like a Coulter Wall move, where we're hammering really quickly on from 2 to 3, but he's like strumming the whole chord and doing that 2 to 3 hammer on. So you'll notice I'm no longer holding down the 5th string when I do that, and that's okay, because I'm actually, it's like the pointer finger is kind of muting the 5th string, so I'm not accidentally hitting it open. And then after that, you hear this really quiet, sorry. So in the intro, you're hearing a very slight open D string. That's often not there when he returns to it later on, so it's your call if you want to put that in, but it sounds like this, 3, 4. So let's do that. Doing that hammer on. If you want to put it in there, I'm going to do that open D on an up strum because it's 1, 2, and then I'm doing 5th string, just picking it down, and it's open 2 open. So let's put it all together. Here's with that up strum D in there. So I'm doing that, miss, up, then I'm doing a down strum, open 2 open, hammer pull, then a down hit on the 3rd fret, or the next measure, 3rd fret of the 6th string. So 3, 4, miss. And if I don't put the D in there, it's just, or with that D again. It's up to you if you want it in there. Then measure 8 continues. We just have that open 2. So 7 and 8 together, 3, 4. Measure 9, we keep going. You know, the lead guitar is just hitting that higher in there. If you want to do a big G again, you can. Then to the open D. Similar fill here. Actually the same thing. And same thing here in 11. Should have all that down really cool. Yeah, and I'd use a flat pick. You're going to get a lot more kind of meat and cut and attack when you're using this as opposed to your thumb or your fingers. So second ending is different here. In 13 we go to a D chord, and it's a little weird here. 13 he's just hitting the D. 14 we have like a D, and then he lifts it, but I think I'm still hearing that 3rd fret on the 2nd string in there. To the same thing we've seen before. And here I'm not hearing that open D. So we have that quick hammer. 3, 4. And that's the intro. I'm going to talk about 2 ways you can do the verse. In the studio version, it's more sparse, but then when you listen to him do it live, he's doing more only because he doesn't have the full band. And you know, when you got a full band, you can be a little more sparse with one guitar part when you've got 2 other guitars in there playing as well. So to keep it simple, and I would learn it the studio way first here in measure 17, we're just doing a big G chord, open D, and then back to 6, 4. So it's just chord, 4th string, 6th, 4th, chord, 4th, 6th, then we hammer, open to 2 on the 5th. And that's me and old Billy, or how's it, me and old Billy, we both come from Georgia, met Hank down in, and then here, so 21 we do the G again with the open D, then we go to a D chord. I'm not necessarily hearing the F sharp in the bass. It's up to you if you like that sound or not. Clearly the bass guitar itself is playing a D, but I'm just trying to fill up the chord. If you want to just do the higher ones, that's fine. New Mexico, so we have big strum open D, New Mexico is back to the G. And then 23 and 24, we've seen that exact fill before. Oops, sorry. Then the verse would repeat 3 times. So that is the simple way to play the verse. How it ends is a little different. If you look at measure 25, the studio version has this walk up where it's G, open, 1, 2. So we have a G chord, then open on the 5th string, and we chromatically walk up, open, 1, 2. And that takes us into the chorus. if you want it a little cooler, I think, in my opinion, it is cooler to do the way he's doing it live. You've got your tab at mikesmusicmethod.com and scroll down to measure 45. What he's doing here, because I know he's not playing it solo, there's other band members, but I'm sure anytime he plays it live, he's coloring it a bit more. So we have still a G chord, but pick, down, up, fourth string, down. So we're just doing those brushes in between the hits. Now, if you're new to this technique, at mikesmusicmethod.com, if you click on the tabs database, you can look through all the songs and you can find a bunch of strumming songs. Pick a strumming song, that'll be in like the technique tab. It's arranged by style, so strummer, and then, you know, do a difficulty 1, 2, 3. If you're new to strumming, start there, because I'm not going to explain all of this here, but we got a loud pick and then just a gentle down up brush on the higher strings. Really don't hold the pick too tight. You're going to get a really harsh sound. We're off that delicate kind of paintbrush. Then I hit the fourth string and then just go down. So it's pick, down, up, pick, down. And I call this a pick strum technique. You probably actually want to look for that in the tabs database. I think I even demarcated that. Measure 46, same thing, pick, down, up, but we have a hammer here. Hammer, down. 47, back to the same thing. Hammer again. Hammer. Then we go to the D chord, pick the fourth, down, up, pick the fifth, down. Then we got 51 as the big G. It really, honestly, anytime you can choose to do a down or a down up, it doesn't matter. So here I'm just doing downs, down, down. But you could do down, up, if you wanted it to be that busy. It's your call. And then 52 is back to the, well, it stays on G, sorry. It just does the higher ones. Open fourth, hammer on fourth, open to 2. That's it. That's how you could do the verse, more like how Steve is doing it in Hartworn Highways. Nearly done. I told you this was an easy one. We're doing the chorus, measure 27. It's a C chord, and we're going to walk the bass here. It's up to you if you want to do it like this. You can move that ring finger, or you can do what I call the big C, where you play normal C. A ring finger goes to the ceiling, pinky takes its place. Now I can hit all 6, and I don't have to move anything at all. And I can just do 5, 6, 5, 6 to a G chord, 6, 4, 6, 4 to a D, 4, 5, 4, 5. Stays there. 4, 4. He does 2 4s there before he returns to the G on 6, 4. Then it basically repeats, but the ending's slightly different. So if we're on measure 35, right, chorus keeps going, same idea at the beginning, 5th string on a C, 6, 5th, 6 to the G again, 6, 4, 6, 4, stays on the G, 6, 4, then a D, 4, 5, right back to G. So it's a different turnaround. Yeah. Quick aside, quick interruption here. I'm not a big Steve Earle fan. So what I need you to do down below for you Steve Earle freaks is comment your favorite songs. In my opinion, I'm protecting myself from the tomato to come. But in my opinion, he's just a really poor Townes Van Zandt. I think his finger picking kind of sucks. I don't really like his voice. No tomatoes. Convince me otherwise that your favorite songwriter doesn't suck. Later. I'm teasing you. Onward with the song. Whew, I told you it was an easy one. You did awesome. We will talk about singing and playing together and the slow run-throughs, but a quick song flow note. So the way the song goes, you start the tune, you do the verse. I think there's 3 stanzas the first time. You do a chorus. Then after that, if you got the tab, mikesmusicmethod.com, at measure 42, that's the end of the chorus, you would do this instrumental break, and that instrumental break is the intro again, 1 through 16, and only the second half of the chorus. So that's 35 to 42. So that's the only strange thing to note, is that instrumental break is a verse and the second half of the chorus. That's noted in the tab. And then we'd go back for another verse. I don't know how many stanzas, right? Look at the lyrics, 2 or 3. And then the final chorus is a double chorus, which means you start where the chorus starts, but instead of ending it normally at 41 and 42, what you're going to do instead is put 25 and 26 there. So when you know how you walk up into the chorus, we're going to do that again at the end of the chorus when he does it the first time. So instead of ending the chorus as usual on 41 or 42, we replace it with 25 and 26, which is the excitement of that walk back into the C. And that's it. And then the song fades, just looping the chorus in that fashion. Campfire ready. Let us start to play and sing this thing. Start simple. That's what I always say. So I just have a chord chart in front of me, and all we're going to do is do down strums. Whatever your skill level is, we're working on getting the phrasing of the tune and the chord changes, and hopefully you start to memorize some of the lyrics if you're going to sing it, but certainly memorize the changes of the chords. So I'm just doing down strums. Me and old Bill there, we both come from Georgia, met Hank down in New Mexico. We're bound for Durango to join Pancho Villa. We hear that he's paying in gold. I guess a man's got to do what he's best at. Ain't found nothing better so far. Been called mercenaries and men with no country, just soldiers in search of war. You can do the walk here. Bound for the border, we're soldiers of fortune. We'll fight for no country, but we'll die for good pay. Under the flag of the greenback dollar or the peso down Mexico way. Simple enough. The next step, I would do pick down, and I'm alternating maybe 6 to 4, depending on the chord. Me and old Bill there, we both come from Georgia, met Hank out in New Mexico. We're bound for Durango to join Pancho Villa. We hear that he's paying in gold. I guess a man's got to do what he's best at. Ain't found nothing better so far. Been called mercenaries and men with no country, just soldiers in search of war. We're bound for the border, we're soldiers of fortune. We'll fight for no country, but we'll die for good pay. Under the flag of the greenback dollar or the peso down Mexico way. You get the idea? So we're working on that. A basic pattern, basic strum pattern, basic pick strum, but also what we did at the beginning of this tutorial, learning all the details and fills. And slowly you start to combine those two elements till you're playing it better than Steve. Oh, and always mess around with the capo. Steve doesn't have a high of a voice, at least in that song he's not reaching too high. That's doable for me. If that feels a little high, take the capo off. If it feels way too high for you, I don't think it will, you can like capo the 7th fret, right? You can raise it but sing it an octave lower. All sorts of things you can do with the capo without having to change any of the chord shapes. Also, a really simple trick, I don't often recommend Ultimate Guitar because their tabs can suck sometimes. But if you just go there on a browser, you can't do it on a phone. But if you go on a browser on a desktop or a laptop, I don't know how to do it on my phone. You can, in the bottom corner, click on the transpose button. So instead of moving the capo, you could change the chord shapes entirely. Now, that's going to change where the hammer-ons and pull-offs are, and it's going to be a little wonky. But it's an easy way for songs that you're just learning to strum and get really basic. Instead of always having to move the capo to fit your voice, you can also change the chord shapes that way. Slow run. Let's do a slow run of the intro here. 1, 2, 3, 4. the simplified verse, as on the studio version, measures 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, beauty. Both come from Georgia. Met Hank down in New Mexico. We're bound for Durango to join Pancho Villa. Let's do the verse from the live version. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. The chorus from 25, 2, 3, 4. Back to the verse. You guys are doing awesome. I am not so great strumming with a flat pick anymore. I'm always using my fingers, so I'm missing strings. That's normal, especially when you're reading the tab and not looking at your hands. So what you can do is start to memorize the thing. The quicker you get off the page, you're going to start to improve more because you can put all your brain power on good tone, precision, and timing. So I encourage you to get off the page as soon as you can. That's it. Well done. Until next time, please help support the channel. If you made it this far and you're learning it, value for value. That's it. Hit me up in the Discord. Peace. Steve Earle. I'm not going to insult him anymore. It's a joke, okay? I know these Dylan freaks get all mad if I ever comment something negative about Bob Dylan on my YouTube channel. It's like the end of the world. I get hate comments because I said his harmonica playing wasn't that good. Let's see if the Steve Earle fans are any better. You guys gonna give me grief? Or do you have a sense of humor, unlike the frickin' Dylan freaks? Dylan freaks kind of remind me of the Dave Matthews Band freaks. When I was in high school, all the suburbanite kids frickin' loved Dave Matthews. I was from the south side of Chicago, North Siders, and a little more yuppie. They were into Dave Matthews. They would just call him Dave. Oh, you going to see Dave this weekend? We're going to see Dave. Are you guys gonna go hang out with Steve? You gonna see Steve play? What about Bob? You gonna see Bob play? You know Bob? Bob's cool, right? Yeah, Bob. Yeah, we're on a first-name basis, me and Bob Dylan. I never met him, but if I were to meet him, he'd be cool with me just saying, hey, Bob. And it'd be like we were old buddies if we met. It would basically be just like that. Same with Steve Earle. He's so cool. He's so down to earth. I could just be like, hey, Steve. And we'd be like old friends, kind of guy you want to have a beer with, you know.